Okay, so guys, today we will talk about the Skald class, which is my main right now. And based on my experience and the testing I did, and I'll show you guys later, the order of your skill doesn't really matter that much for a long session farming. But for PvP, yes, the order is very important. But again, when you're farming for a long time, like more than an hour, the skill order doesn't change much in your results. What really matter is what skills you put in your auto skill slot. Okay, so guys, before I show you my test results, let's first talk about how the skill of Skald work in this game. So this system, guys, actually work for all classes. Every class has one or more skills that have bash damage, and those skills are connected to other skills, especially debuff skills. So for example, if you use this specific skill, this will give the enemy a debuff called magic interruption. And then guys, if you use another skill, just like this one that has bash damage, the bash will be activated on the enemy with that magic interruption debuff. And you will know that it's working when you see a red number with a slash when you use the skill. So that's actually the bash damage. So the first thing to learn for Skald is which skills give debuffs, and right now what I did, guys, I put all my debuff skills here in the top part of my skill bar, except to this one. So again, these are the debuff skills, and ideally they will be used first before using any bash skills. Then on the bottom part, I put all the bash skills here. So guys, if you notice, when I use the top skills, there are lightning effects on the bottom skills. That means bash is activating when using the debuff skills. So for PvP, the order is really important. Like, you apply your debuffs first, which is the skills on the top, and then after that you can now use your bash skills, which is here in the bottom part. But let's say that your opponent dodges your first debuff, then you still have more debuff skills to try again before using any of your bash skills. So that's the important of the arrangement of your skills here. But for PvE or farming, I believe it's not that important, because when you're auto farming, following a strict skill order is not really ideal based on my testing. Okay, so guys, when you follow the exact order, it works fine in the first round because obviously all skills are ready and not under cooldown. But in the second round, so let's wait a little bit. So here, notice that there's like a delay, like it starts to slow down, and that is because obviously every skill has a different cooldown. Like, your character waits for other skill before continuing to the other skill. So I tested this setup, guys, for 30 minutes where my character followed this skill order strictly. Okay, so guys, after 30 minutes, I got 2.4 million XP. This is XP, guys, not the damage, so it might not be that accurate, but still, this will give us an idea. Then guys, after that one, I tested another setup, but this time I didn't follow the order of skills strictly. Instead, I turned on this skip unusable. So basically, the character at first will follow the order of the skills, but after that, it will just use my skill that was ready after cooldown. And then guys, I also recorded this setup again for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I got 2.9 million XP, which is higher than the first test that we made. So that gave us an idea that it kills more monster faster with this kind of setups. So that's why I said, guys, for long farming session, the order of skills doesn't really matter that much. It's better to just focus on what skills you put in your auto setup. So don't put your stress too much on arranging your skills. But of course, guys, if you study the cooldown of the skills like very deep and match the debuff timing and bash timing, you can make a strict skill order setup work even better. But that will take a lot of time of studying and computing. But again, as I said earlier, the order of skills might not be that important in long session of farming, but I want to back up this idea again with a real testing. So what I did next was to try another skill combo. I changed the order of the skills, but I still use the same set of skills. So logically guys, this should give almost the same result since each skill has a different cooldown, which means the order will naturally change during the battle. But still guys, I recorded this test again for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes guys, as expected, we also got around 2.9 million XP, which is almost the same as the previous test. So again guys, for me, when it comes to long farming sessions, the order of skills is not really a big deal. What matters more is what skills you actually include in your setup. That's why next we'll talk about which skills to use and level up first for the Skald. Okay, so guys, based on my experience as a solo farmer, here's my order of priority. So number 1 is the AoE skills, the one that hit many enemies. So anything that give high AoE, this should be the priority. And second is the high bash damage skills. And third will be the debuff skills. And last one, this one is optional guys, you can put this on a higher priority. Last one will be the sustaining or healing skills. So if your character feels too soft or dies easily, you can prioritize this more, like more than your debuff skills. But anyway guys, when I say prioritize bash skills, I don't mean upgrade all of your bash skills first before upgrading other skills. It's better to balance everything, like maybe upgrade 2 to 3 bash skills, then 1 to 2 debuff skill, because somehow you will be needing each other in your skills rotation. Okay, so for example guys, let's apply this skill priority ranking for our class, which is Skald. So for me, based on my experience, the Song of the Tempest is the best AoE skill for Skald. Like it has a very wide area, so this should be our number 1 or first priority. And also upon checking this one guys, you will see that later when you reach level 8, this skill also becomes a healing skill, which is really nice. Like at first you are building a farming machine, then later you will be playing a support role. So that's really a good roadmap for F2P. Yeah, but I'm not F2P guys, I already spent some money, but not too much guys. And next one guys is we can upgrade our Song of Mistletoe. The reason for this is very obvious, because this one has the highest damage among the bash skills that Skald have. Around 600% magic attack even at level 1 guys. And also guys, you might notice that I haven't learned these skills yet because they're still quite expensive in the market right now. So I decided to skip them for now. Maybe I'll wait a bit longer before investing in these skills. But anyway guys, after the Song of Mistletoe, we can go for this skill, this Song of the Guardian. It's actually both a bash skill and also a debuff skill because it gives magic interruption and wound effects. So this one is really good, like it keeps the momentum of the bash damage. And guys, another bash skill is this Poem of the Rainbow, but if you check the damage multiplier, it's kinda low compared to others, and since the damage is not that high, I'm skipping this for now and focusing on other skills. And then guys, this one is optional. For me, I decided to level up this Poem of the Wind up to level 5. Not only because this is a bash skill, but also because it gives plus 25 party physical and magic defense, which I feel is a big buff. Like for example, if you look at this skill, this Poem of the Shield, it gives only plus 6 at level 1 and plus 24 at level 5. So the plus 25 from the Poem of the Wind is already good. And also guys, the reason I value party buffs because I often play with my alt character in a party. So if you're a solo Skald, like you don't have any alts, you can actually skip this one and focus on bash skills or debuff skills instead. Okay, so guys, the next priority to level up is the debuff skills. I won't go through each one in detail because I know our resources are actually limited and it's hard to level up everything, but just in case you have some extra resources, here's the order I recommend. So first, Poem of Vines, then Poem of the Wolf, And next one is the poem of Shining Light, and the last one is the Sing of the Lord, which is actually your ultimate skill. So this one, guys, is our last priority since we can't really use it often when doing AFK farming. That's also why I've been kind of lazy to finish this saga quest, but maybe later when I'm in the mood I'll get this done. Also, guys, one more skill that I'm trying to level up is this healing skill. This one, guys, is situational. Like if you feel your character cannot survive long in a farming spot even with a lot of potions, then investing in this healing skill is really helpful. And honestly, I'm really enjoying this Skald class because of this skill. Like when I'm in a party and use this skill to heal my teammates, it actually feels nice. Like I'm really adding value to the team. But anyway, guys, for the skills that I'm using, I turned on the skip unusable feature because based on our testing, it's actually more efficient for me to keep this on. So even though I arrange my skills in a specific order, they'll start to go off in a random order after the first rotation, depending on cooldowns. Now, here's the logic behind this setup. I start with Tempest of the Wind since it's not linked to any other skill, so I can safely use it first, plus it has the widest AoE, which is great for clearing mobs right away. Next, I use my first debuff skill, which is the Poem of the Wolf, and this one gives the blurred sight effect to monsters. And after that comes Song of Mistletoe, which is a bash skill that triggers when enemies have blurred sight, so it connects perfectly with the previous skill. Then I go with Poem of Vines, which gives the magic interruption debuff to enemies. And after applying that debuff, I use Song of the Guardian, another bash skill that works on enemies with the magic interruption debuff. And the cool part in this skill is this one also gives magic interruption debuff. So it is both a bash skill and a debuff skill. That's why my next skill, which is this Poem of the Wind, is another bash skill, which also benefits from the same magic interruption setup. Then I use Poem of the Shining Light, another debuff skill that applies blurred sight. Though I wasn't able to connect this one directly to the next bash skill yet, so I just added this because my mana recovery is high and it can add more skills, and also these skills will be throwing randomly, that's why I added this. And lastly, I have this skill, Poem of Leap, which is my healing skill, kind of like a pre-potion. So ideally, guys, this one will be on the last slot. Now, even though the auto system has a feature of using recovery skill at a specific percentage of HP, it only seemed to work when skip unusable is turned off. But since my testing showed that turning it off actually decreases my farming efficiency, I decided to just keep skip unusable on. So basically what happened, guys, is it will follow the skill order for the first round, but after that, since cooldowns are different, it skipped the ones still on cooldown, meaning the skill order won't really be followed strictly. But still, guys, I just wanted to explain this setup clearly so you can understand how each skill connect to the next and how the debuff and bash system works together again. Okay, so guys, I think that's all for now about the skills of Skald. And just a reminder, guys, I'm not a pro player in this game, guys. I just share what I discover through testing and experience. So sometimes I might be wrong too. So please be the one to adjust, like keep the things that make sense to you and just ignore the ones that don't. Alright, so guys, see you again in the next video.